get a group photo and we'll just introduce everyone for the day.
Let's get loads of photos.
I'm just going to get my Scotchy hat.
Your scotch and soda. See you later. See you guys.
Brendan comes back.
Yeah, he'll come.
He's on school hours. The boss here when he's not here. I'm sure we won't tell him anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Ben Cox. I'm the Director of Fundraising, Marketing and Comms for Legacy in Brisbane. I just wanted to firstly say a huge thank you to you all for taking the time out of your day today to support Legacy and support one of our wonderful widows, Mrs. Queenie Budd, who's just gone in to get a little bit of a prop to help her tell her story. Before we do meet Mrs. Budd and before she talks about her journey with Legacy and her husband's service to our country, I just wanted to highlight a few housekeeping rules for you today. We do have a portaloo down the front. Get in early because I'm sure it's not going to be great by the end of the day. Just one of the many highlights.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
It's an absolutely huge job today, and we are absolutely here to support Mrs. Budd and to honour her husband's service and sacrifice that he made to the country. But today is also about safety. It's really important that as we're working around today, you understand your own personal limits. I think that's a really important thing. If you're allowed on the tools, great, stay on the tools, have fun on the tools, but first and foremost, be safe. Georgina, who is coordinating today, will give you a walk around and we'll start to divide up jobs. There is obviously the front, and there's about twice the size at the back for any of you who haven't headed out the back, and it's in a slightly different condition than it is out here. Important to note, there is asbestos on the property. There's asbestos sheeting that is undisturbed about midway on the right of the property. I'd ask that you don't go near the asbestos sheeting, you don't whip a snip around it, you don't use any heavy machinery, and you don't disturb that asbestos at all. So it is safe in the condition that it is in, but we'll come at a later date and remove that safely and securely. Other than that, stay hydrated. You know the rules, the soldiers probably more so than everyone else. We'll have refreshments coming for you later today at lunch. And we also have our lovely legatees from Logan here today. So if you want to learn anything more about Legacy, look for the Legacy shirts, our staff and our wonderful legatees here from Logan. And if I could introduce you to the star of the show today, this is Mrs. Queenie Budd.
I feel very privileged that you should come and help me. Thank you very much.
And Queenie, can you tell us a little bit about your husband and his service and your involvement with Legacy?
Well, Legacy is a very caring organisation, and of course, as you can tell by my accent, we are English and came from Andover in Hampshire in 1953. We're the original boat people actually, because we're 10-pound poms, you know. So, and I had one little girl, she was 2.5, that was Celia, who is now 67, and she was a teacher. She's up at Maryborough at the moment, retired of course. But to get back to the situation of my husband and I, he was in the Argyll and Southern Highlanders. That's why I'm wearing, it's not his tartan. His tartan was a dull sort of green and black thing out. And he joined the Argyll and Southern Highlanders, and was in Malaya and Singapore and India when the Second World War started. And he got, when Singapore fell, he was captured with a lot of other people and was nearly drowned in a a boat that was taking them across to Japan. But anyway, he survived that, and he was in the Burma Railway, and then because he had so much malaria, some of his mates said to him, "Oh, come on, Ray, bud, you know, stand here, and there's picking out some of us to go down and work on the railway. At least it'll be a bit different from here." And so there he was with malaria, sort of standing between two other people. This is what he told me. And then they packed them all on a train, and they went up to the Burma Railway, and that was a terrible situation where he had these bad dreams and everything afterwards. Anyway, he survived that, but the thing was that with the atomic bombs that the Americans dropped to Hussein end the war, he was about 40 miles away from the Nagasaki bomb, and that has sort of upset the rest of our. That's why I've only got 5 grandchildren, and 2 of those are South Korean adopted babies, because my children are not that fertile, you know. So what else would you like to know about?
And so, Mrs. Budd, your husband very sadly passed away at quite a young age.
Oh yes, he was 46. Yes, and he died of cancer of the throat, and you know, and yes, my youngest one was only 2.5 when he died, and the oldest girl was 15.
And I believe, even though he was sick towards the end, you were lucky enough for him to build this house with his bare hands for you.
Well, that's right. Oh, we had great fun. I mean, to say we were pioneering, you know. We were pioneering when we came out. I mean, what was I? I was 25, and so we bought this piece of ground, and it was all this area was just sort of frontier country. You had to bury your own night soil. There was no electricity. There was no power, and so we got the old hand mixer, and Ray dug out the foundations, and when it rained, as it rains terribly over here at times, you know, I would be very technical and siphon the water out with the garden hose by sort of sucking up one end of it and telling the kids to put it down the other end, you know, is it going, you know, and the water will all flow down. But it was all in the spirit of things, you know. Absolutely. And the odd few people that were coming around here, I knew users that had sort of a few cattle and that just over the hill there, and that road, Ewing Road, is dedicated to them, and they were a Scottish family, and 1 or 2 others used to come around when we were sort of doing up the foundations. He said, "What are you making here? You're making an English mansion here? You got found out?" And my husband said, "Yeah, well, I don't want it to slide off down the road, you know." And so we had all these bits of iron and stuff put in to make the foundations really, you know, substantial.
It's still standing many years later.
Yes, and that's the time when this fibro business scare came on. So the place is fibro, and then my husband stuccoed over it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kept it safe.
It kept it safe, yeah. But it was the shell that was left, and so I've made the home since then, gradually, you know.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Mrs. Budd.
Is there any questions? That's what we want to know. Any questions?
I think we've got enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, Georgie's going to walk you through the jobs for today, but before we get into the logistics, I certainly appreciate you, Mrs. Budd, sharing that story, but that's today the inspiration for us. We've got a veteran who was there during the atomic bombings, who effectively gave his life serving his country, spent many years as a POW, and then came over to Australia to have a much better life. And Legacy's been there to support Queenie, but when you're digging into those plants, cutting down trees, when you need to go that little bit of extra mile, we're here today to honour Queenie's husband's memory and to support Queenie to have the backyard that her husband would be proud of, a backyard that reflects that house he built by hand. So that's why we're here today. So please dig deep, you know, get in there, make sure you have fun, be safe, and I'm sure Queenie will be around to have a chat if you want to and share a story. And she's even brought her husband's medals today if anyone would like to have a look at those. But thank you very much, Queenie, and I'll hand over to Georgina to do a walkthrough. Before we do, we just want to grab a big group photo while everyone's here. Yeah. So if